Hello friends, let me begin with a question. How often have you willingly sacrificed your free time to make more money? Now, if your answer is yes, you are not alone. But new research suggests that prioritizing money over time may actually undermine our happiness. In a recent study, more than 1,000 students graduating from the University of British Columbia completed an assessment measuring whether they tend to value time over money or money over time. The majority of students reported prioritizing time, but not by much. Nearly 40% reported prioritizing money. To find out how this choice correlated with their cognitive and emotional well-being, the students' level of happiness was measured both prior to graduation and a year down the line. Among other measures, they were asked to report on their life satisfaction by answering the question, taking all things together, how happy would you say you are on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being not at all and 10 being extreme. Now, this is not a simple question, as happiness isn't something that can be quantified that easily, but this question does force you to think about the things that make you happy, and if you know what makes you happy, then why not invest more time in those things rather than running after money and losing time that you could have used to do things you like. A wise man once said, no amount of money ever bought a second of time. And even though most of us will agree with wisdom in these words, a lot of us would still trade our time for money. Today in this video, let us look at some of the concepts behind the introduction I have given. Before we move ahead, please subscribe to the Upfront and press the bell icon to get notification of all our updates. I am Nihal Mohammed and you're watching the Upfront. The big question is, how does money affect happiness? There is no simple answer. World-renowned psychologists Ed Diener and Robert Biswas Diener, in their book Happiness, it seems natural to assume that rich people will be happier than others, but money is only one part of psychological wealth, so the picture is complicated. There is a strong correlation between wealth and happiness. The authors say rich people and nations are happier than their poor counterparts. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But they note that money's impact on happiness isn't as large as you might think. If you have clothes to wear, food to eat, and a roof over your head, increased disposable income has just a small influence on your sense of well-being. So it's clear to us that money does in fact play a role in a person's level of happiness, but it isn't as big of a role as we are led to believe. Typically, as your income increases, your lifestyle grows with it. When your boss gives you a raise, you want to reward yourself, you deserve it, so you spend more. All that new stuff costs money to buy, store and maintain. Gradually your lifestyle becomes more expensive, so you have to work harder to earn more. You think that if only you got another raise, then you would have enough, but in all likelihood, you just repeat the process by spending even more. Psychologists call this vicious cycle the hedonic treadmill, though you probably know it as the rat race. People on the hedonic treadmill think they'd be happy if they just had a little more money, but when they get more money, they discover something else they want. Because they are never content with what they have, they can never have enough. This life of chasing a bigger payday becomes a noose around the heads of these people who have been brainwashed into thinking that more money equals more happiness, and after years and years of work, they realize they didn't get what they worked for. Instead, they got caught up in this rat race of amazing big piles of money and lost sight of things that mattered. So, coming back to the original question, can money make you happy? Research and studies by multiple psychologists, sociologists and economists shows that while the absence of money makes people miserable, once their basic needs are met, additional money does not translate into higher levels of satisfaction. What these studies found is that immediately after coming into money, a person is happier for anywhere between 1 year to 15 months. What was common in all the studies was that after a while, the value of money starts to lose its potency and the subject gradually starts to look for more ways to spend money, and their expectations for things become too high to meet. The very things that may have initially made you happy would now fail to even amuse you even a fraction of what they once did. This is not even considering how you got the money in the first place. For most people, it's through working hard for long years and by investing their time and effort in things that they don't like. This leads to them not being able to invest in things that do make them happy. It could be a hobby or reading a book or talking to your friends and family. It might even be just sitting alone with your thoughts. But in the quest for money, most people become a prisoner to it. They lose sight of the goal: happiness. In our survey of loan applicants mentioned above, we found that more than 80% of people under 30 reported deriving more happiness from buying experiences like trips, concerts, or special meals than from buying material things such as gadgets or clothes. 62% of respondents were Gen Z or millennials. Nonetheless, it's easy to get sucked into buying material things, partly because they are so easy to compare. One of us, Elizabeth, was perfectly content with her iPhone 8 until she received a text message offering her a shiny new iPhone 11. No money down, she caught herself increasingly living the rapidly aging iPhone 8 on the edge of tables, nightstands, and sinks, unconsciously waiting for its demise. This behavior is not uncommon. Research shows that when a desirable upgrade becomes available, people often become careless with their existing products. The fact that material things are so easy to compare helps explain why they are often unsatisfying. After all, even the iPhone 11 might not look so great next to the iPhone 11 Max Pro. In contrast, experiences aren't so easy to compare. Invest in others. Try this experiment on yourself. Grab a rupees 50 or rupees 100 note and use it to benefit someone else today. You could send a small gift to a friend, help out a stranger who's short on cash at the grocery store, or make a donation to a charity that's important to you. Although it might be tempting to spend this money on yourself, a decade of research shows that you're more likely to derive happiness from spending it on someone else. In fact, even people who are struggling to meet their own basic needs exhibit this warm glow from giving it to others. But that doesn't mean that giving always makes everyone happy. Instead, it matters how and why you give. It's important that you feel like your decision to give is made freely, that it is something you choose to do, not something you feel forced to do by a pushy coworker asking for yet another donation to their pet cause. Looking for opportunities that will enable you to see how your generosity is making a difference for a person or cause you genuinely care about. And you can start small. Research shows that giving even a few rupees can boost your mood. It's important to note that some of this research has its limitations, as spending choices that promote happiness can also be dependent on our unique personalities. Another important question is, are the rich miserable? Again, there is no simple answer leaning one way or another, because happiness comes from a sum of experiences, sometimes small, sometimes big, and for most people, experiences only have meaning when they have someone to share them with. This is best captured by the quote, "Memories need to be shared." No matter how much suffering you went through, you never wanted to let go of those memories. The past beats inside me like a second heart. Humans, not places, make memories. The reason the rich often find themselves unhappy is because in their quest for riches, they forget to invest time in building a healthy relationship with their friends and family. In the end, all they are left with is a big pile of money and no one to share it with. I hope what you have learned today has brought you to the same conclusion that I reached, that you didn't need to make all that money after all. If you had known that, you probably would have used that understanding and wisdom to work on yourself and uncover your happiness so it could start pouring out and become who you are and how you live. Plus, when you start doing that kind of special work, you won't just experience transitory happiness, you'll begin to experience true joy, and that will one day become your norm, your way of being in the world. And when you reach that point, which we call enlightenment, you won't need money anymore, at least not in the ways we think of it today. That's it for today. If you like the content we provide, please subscribe to the Upfront and press the bell icon to get notification of all our updates. Please share our videos and educate others. Thank you.